I'm here too.
All right, cool. All right, so just talk to me. I don't want to be the one monopolizing the conversation. So tell me what you want to know from me, or just tell me what's on your heart.
Well, just going to the law library as much as I have, I see a lot of cases. I've heard a lot of cases around here. I see a lot of cases where the DA or the judge have had a lot of misconduct, but the judge has ruled say, well, it's not egregious enough, or it's not that that wow factor enough to really sway in the defendant's favors. I'm looking at the things that I know. I mean, I've never dealt with a law before. With all this, I'm winging it in a law library as I am. And, God directed me through little things like through the poisonous tree, the Brady law, and different cases that, just it pops out of nowhere, but I know what God is putting in front of me. And I see all these things that relate to my case. I just don't know, how to frame this where, when I do this 35C, I've had this paperwork with me for probably a couple months, and I know I only have a year left to appeal some of those Class B and C felonies that have a 3-year limit or 2-year limit, and I really want to figure this out where I can do it in the right time frame, but also not rushing anything. And I just want to get out of here. I know that God has a plan for me, and it's to be in prison right now, but it's not stay here. Because He brought me here for a reason. But He also wants me to just put me outside. I know I just can't sit here and just wait for it to, I know there's waiting doing nothing, and there's waiting that seeking an action verb. That's what I'm doing. But I also want to know what action to take, because I have no intellect when it comes to the law. But I know He can teach me, and that's what I'm just waiting for. Things that fall clean, I still know how to do it.
I got you. And you don't have the benefit of an attorney that is in your hip pocket, so to speak. Okay, I've got a couple of attorneys here I can talk to that can maybe help. Get some good results, get some good advice for you in terms of forms and what to say, things like that. That's not going to be an overnight process for me to, get the results, we want. It's going to take some time, but, I'm not saying overnight, but I am saying maybe several days or a week or so. So let me see what I can do along those lines. Because I know you're in a tough spot, and it's how do you know how to do something when you don't know what it is you need to do? So it's tough. So I get it.
It's a trial by error thing, but I know with the law, it's like, all right, you're gonna run into certain things where the motion's gonna get denied, or whatever I write down, the judge might think, well, that's not. What you're claiming isn't enough to go back to. You're not warranted a trial. You're not warranted to have the appeal granted, denied. I was like, well, how do I do that?
Yeah.
And I don't want to get disheartened when that happens. I know it'll probably happen at some point, but not all motions are all appeals or granted. That's why I want to make sure I write this the right way. Where when it goes there, they see oh well, do I put everything down that I know, or just I don't want to put everything down so they know everything that I'm on.
Well, okay, let me address a couple of things in what you just said. First of all, you live in a closed society now. Every door is shut in your face. You cannot go from one. You go to one wall, you can't go further. You got to turn your left, you can't go any further. So you know what I'm saying? You're in this perpetual. This room with no door, so you cannot get through. You got that? You understand that? What I'm trying to say? So your world is controlled. You hear the word no probably more than you hear the word yes in that system. So one thing you need to be very accustomed to is being denied, being turned down, being told no. You with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, some people will lose hope very, very quickly because everywhere they turn, time they talk to someone, they're hearing things they don't want to hear. They're being told no. You can't do this. You can't have that. You can't go here. You can't go there. You know, whatever legal action you're trying to do.
Attorney's call may be monitored and recorded.
Whatever you're trying to do, you're always being told no. What you can't do is allow yourself to lose hope. Don't take no for an answer. And don't give up the first time you're told no. You understand?
Yeah.
So the key in all this is you got to be strong. You got to be physically strong. You got to be mentally strong. And you've got to understand that, you know what? You're the underdog, but underdogs can win. They can be a dog in the fight. So I want you to get this attitude that no matter what you do, we're not going to take no for an answer. They tell us no, we're going to try again. They tell us no again, we're going to try again. You just got to keep persevering and don't lose hope, okay? Because I tell you what, you lose hope, you lose your life. All right? So just keep a positive attitude about all that, and don't take any steps back. Just keep moving forward. Even if it's a small step, move forward and not backward. Okay?
Okay. Just like in my devotional today, it was mentioned Esther. It was a door of hope, and the Lord was speaking to Esther, and she was saying to the Lord, I've led you to the wilderness, but I will plant in that wilderness vineyards. If you go through the valley of Core, which is the valley of trouble, I will put a door of hope. So even though you're in a wilderness, you're going to plant vineyards in that wilderness. So you're in the valley of trouble, there's going to be a door of hope in that trouble.
That's great. Well, I'm proud of you. Good job. Keep that up. Keep your nose in that book too.
Oh well.
Yeah.
So, Chris, what were you saying before we got cut off about when he asked? I can't remember what it was, but you were talking about the evidence and your confession that wasn't true.
Well, I just know that, like, I've never experienced anything like this before. Like, from the tragedy that happened, from the law enforcement, the interrogation, the jail, the prison, all this was new. All this was new. And I know that, even though I've never had something like this happen before, I knew the shock and the trauma was there in my mind. I didn't know how to process it. Every question that they asked me, I was just agreeing with them and just going along with what they said, because I was like, well, I guess you got to tell them something. And even when they came here to prison and interrogated me, they were in the street clothes acting like they were just talking to me, when in retrospect they were actually interrogating me again. And I know for a fact that, that interrogation and I used, because they were here in Wisconsin, that they're all based. So all that is like null and void, but still, they're going to try to use all this stuff against me. But I know that from that interrogation to the first one, and all that was like a coercive type psychological intimidation of someone that, had never been in that situation before, and they just used that to their advantage.
Well, Chris, what you witnessed firsthand is is a game. It's like getting back to the old biblical days where you've got the big Roman soldier in the pen with the little guy, and you're fighting for your life, and you don't know what to expect, but that's a terrible analogy, and I'm sorry, but I'm just saying, you just didn't know what was going on. And And it's a game. That's what I tell so many people. This is a game that they're playing. You are the prey. They're the hunter. You're the prey. And they've got you exactly where they want you. And they're going to get, most times they're going to get what they want. Because you know what? They keep you for hours. They deprive you of your basic needs. And as every second that you're with them in that chair and they're bearing down on you, your mind is actually deteriorating. Your mind is playing games against you. And that's why we have so many times where people give confessions for things that they just did not do. And it's because, you know what? They want to get out of there. They want to just tell them what they need to know, what they're asking, what they're interested in, so they can get out and go home. Well, you know what? Guess what doesn't happen? They don't go home. And their life is forever changed. So it's...
After I told them what they wanted to hear, then they offered me food.
Exactly.
So strange. But the thing I know, like where you're talking about playing a game, is when the TBI agent and the FBI agent, like when the TBI first, the woman, when she like questioned me for hours, and then after those hours of interrogation, she puts me on a polygraph. And then I'm like, exhausted at this point. And then after that, like, I'm sitting there alone, and I hear them, it's the phone intercom doesn't pick it up. I hear them outside the door, the FBI agent comes up, oh, how did you do? And she said, oh, we did pretty good, but I think we get more out of them. And they come in with this game face and say, okay, you lied. I'm thinking to myself, wait, I thought you just said they're pretty good. And I didn't question about it, I just believe what she said and they said I made it. But I know for a fact she said, you did pretty good, but I think we get some more out of them. I'm just like, I'll only think about this stuff way after it happened.
All right, Chris, that's a little game. I can tell you for a fact that they did not administer the polygraph in the proper way. You should have been on the top of your game, mentally, physically, spiritually, when they gave you that polygraph. You should have had a good night's rest. You should have before they gave you that polygraph. So I don't trust the polygraph. I don't trust the results, and they use that as a hammer over your head to scare you, because the polygraph scares everyone because of its reputation. We can talk more about that later.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking another call. I think got like 30 seconds left, but I know that God can lead me on how to write this thing up to get it back, and I know that thank you for helping me and just going into that discovery. I mean, you don't have to do it, but you're doing it. And I just believe that.
So now you've heard the call. Chris Watts sat there on the phone, still trying to figure out if there's a way out, still asking if something could be done, still hoping maybe that the law missed something. But the truth is simple, and it hasn't changed. Chris Watts is never getting out of prison. That's not speculation, it's not opinion, it's just the truth. He pled guilty, he gave up his right to appeal, he's serving 5 life sentences without parole. That means no early release, no second chance, no courtroom left to walk into. The system is done with him. Legally, he has no moves left. And his lawyer knows that. That's why the tone was so flat, so careful, so direct. There's nothing more to file. No one to talk to, no new trial coming. Just time. And he has a lot of it. He asked questions, yes, but deep down, he already knew the answers. This call wasn't about finding legal options. It was about refusing to accept what's already final. It's like asking, are you sure the door is locked? After you've already been locked in for years. He wants someone to give him a maybe, but there isn't one. Because what he's serving isn't just time, it's the full weight of a life sentence. And not 1, 5. This wasn't a one-time mistake the court might reconsider. This was judged, decided, and closed. He can make phone calls, he can ask, but he won't change the outcome. The legal system doesn't operate on feelings or memory loss. It runs on facts, procedure, and final judgment. Chris Watts is done. That's not cruel. That's just reality. Let's break it down even more.
When someone is sentenced to life without parole, that means there is no release. Ever. Not for good behavior, not for time served, not for saying the right thing. Chris can talk about appeals or ask questions, but those roads are already closed. He gave that up when he pled guilty, and that wasn't something the court forced on him. That was his choice. He agreed to it, signed it, stamped it. There's no appeal sitting on a judge's desk. There's no legal team waiting to try again. This is over, by the law, by the system, and by his own signature. And in the call, you could hear it. He's not even sure what he's asking for anymore. He's just hoping, stretching the conversation, fishing for any small chance. But hope isn't a legal strategy, and the lawyer stayed calm because there's nothing to say. He didn't argue, didn't offer anything new, didn't hint at possibilities, because there are none. It's done. Chris Watts will wake up in prison every day for the rest of his life, not because anyone has a grudge, not because people forgot, but because the law worked exactly as it should. He asked his lawyer if there's a way. There isn't. And no matter how many times he brings it up, the answer will never change. At this point, what Chris is really doing is stalling reality. He's not confused. He's not asking because he doesn't know the law. He's asking because he doesn't want to accept it. That's a big difference. There's no appeal waiting to be discovered. No technical error. No new evidence. Nothing was missed. The court system didn't get this one wrong. Everything was processed, every document signed. And most of all, Chris agreed to the sentence himself. No one forced it on him. So when he calls the lawyer and brings it up again, the lawyer doesn't give him false hope, because he knows it would be a lie. There's no point sugarcoating it. This isn't a movie. There's no twist coming. No second ending. Chris isn't getting out. He's not getting transferred to another prison with a shorter sentence. He's not getting a new trial. And he's not walking out of that gate. Ever. The system has no more work to do here. This case is closed. Fully closed. So if he's still calling, still asking, still wondering, it's not because there's a chance. It's because he's stuck in the same place mentally that he is physically, locked in. And that's how it's going to stay. The legal system doesn't give out do-overs when nothing went wrong. And in this case, nothing did. That's why there's no case left to argue. No lawyer's going to reopen it, no court's going to hear it again, and no appeal is ever going to change the sentence. It doesn't matter how polite Chris sounds. It doesn't matter if he stays out of trouble behind bars. None of that leads to freedom. Because this isn't about behavior anymore. It's about the final decision that's already been made and locked in. Even the lawyer's tone in the call told you everything. No emotion, no suggestions, just facts.
He's not planning anything because there's nothing to plan. He's not filing motions. He's not making calls. He's managing a client who still hasn't accepted the reality. That's what this call really was. Not a legal check-in, but a mental one. Chris is still trying to pretend there's a crack in the wall. There isn't. He's going to be in prison for life, and that doesn't change no matter how many times he brings it up. This isn't opinion. This isn't debate. This is the system doing exactly what it said it would do. So now that the call is over and you've heard it from his own mouth, let's end this with no confusion. Chris Watts is never getting out of prison. Not next year, not in 10 years, not when he's old, not ever. There's no hidden legal option. There's no new trial. There's no secret plan. He gave up his right to appeal. He accepted a sentence that will keep him locked up until the day he dies. And nothing he said on that call changes that. It doesn't matter how many times he asks. It doesn't matter who he calls. The system isn't reopening this. It's closed, he's in, and he's staying in. That's not being harsh. That's just the law doing its job.
This wasn't a man making progress. This was a man stuck, saying the same thing he's probably said 100 times before, hoping someone, someday, will say something different. But they won't, because the answer is final, and the door is closed for good. Chris Watts will never walk free again. And that's not a maybe, that's a fact.